Welcome to the Leading Hope Podcast with Kevin Jack. Your influence will lead people somewhere, lead them towards hope. Everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.
Welcome to Leading Hope with Kevin Jack. I'm your host, VJ Williams, here with my friend and pastor, Kevin Jack. Thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day to become a better leader. We will release a new episode every Wednesday, so we'd love for you to subscribe, share on social media, and bring others along with us in this journey of becoming a better leader. Visit leadinghope.online to get updates and find out more about the Leading Hope community. Today's episode is episode 1, and we are so excited to bring that to you today. The topic will be, why is resilience important? All right, Kevin, take it away.
Cool. So we're going to spend a couple minutes talking about what resilience is. Then VJ's going to have some questions. Our goal is to make you a better leader in any way that we possibly can through these small deposits. So we want to start off talking about, why is resilience so important, especially within leadership. We believe that resilience matters a great deal. And when people talk about the competencies, the abilities, the skills that a leader needs, resilience usually is not going to pop up on that list. People are going to talk about your ability to develop teams, your ability to design systems, your ability to create and craft culture, your ability to execute. But we believe that within all this conversation, that resilience is absolutely essential. And so resilience, this is how we define resilience. Resilience is the ability to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions. And if you are going to lead for long, you need to be resilient. If you are not resilient, you will be out of the leadership game, out of the impact game very, very quickly. And the reality is this. I'm going to tell you things that you already know, but you may need to be reconfirmed of. Leadership is difficult. The work is not easy. And if you enter into any endeavor with the expectation that resilience isn't essential, then you will feel very quickly overwhelmed. One of my favorite authors, M. Scott Peck, begins his book, The Road Less Traveled, with this statement: life is hard, and as soon as you realize that, life's not so hard.
That's good.
Maybe a better source than M. Scott Peck, Jesus, said it like this: in this world, you will have trouble. And then he says something really hopeful. He says, but take heart, I have overcome the world. But that does not change the standing of that first statement. In this world, you will have trouble. And so just expect this. Expect what you're doing, if it matters, to be difficult. I remember years ago, I've taken great comfort within this. Guy who was leading a team, he said, I could just always count on this. If I had a team of 10, 2 of them will be pointed the wrong direction at any point in time. Sometimes it was the same 2, sometimes it was a different 2, but 2 of them would be pointed the wrong direction at any point in time. And we go through all that, and there's this sense of like we just take comfort in that. We take comfort in the fact that it's going to be difficult, in this sense of like, we have community over sharing problems. And I don't want to get into that. I think those things are important because this is how I view it more than anything else, is the necessity of resilience is actually a good thing. And I would say it like this: if you're a leader, the reason why you have a job is because the work is difficult. Now look at it like that. Like, if there weren't problems for you to solve, you would not get paid to do the work that you do. The fact that problems exist is the reason why you are employed. We are a part of a church. We're pastors. And I'll tell our staff in this sense, sometimes people act sinful. We act sinful, but a lot of times people that we deal with act sinful within the issues, and they're very selfish in how they handle problems. And it's easy to get frustrated by those problems, but we remind them like this, like, hey, listen, the church is here. Like, we're in the business of of showing people the remedy for sin. And so, like, let's not be surprised that people are sinful, because that's why we have jobs. If there was no sin, there would be no need for pastors. And so let's not complain about the thing that has given us our calling. Let's correct it, but let's not be surprised when it's in there to begin with. And it's really easy for anyone in this talk of resilience. It's really easy for anyone to have initial enthusiasm And I love it. Angela Duckworth, in her fantastic book on titled Grit, she says it like this. She says, enthusiasm is common, but endurance is rare. Anyone can have initial enthusiasm towards something, but that ability to keep going is few and far between. And I think it's that opportunity that we need to look at of saying, hey, endurance is rare. And so if you are able to just keep going, if you are able in the midst of the difficulty to keep showing up, to keep doing the work, to keep doing what matters, then the reality is you will set yourself apart. You will make yourself noticed simply by your resilience. You don't need to be talented. You don't need to be skilled. You just need to be resilient, and that will be enough. And so one of the easiest ways to develop resilience, and we're going to talk about it for all this month on resilience and what we're getting into, and we're going to get into further strategies and stuff like that. But I just want to give this little tidbit at the end of the initial discussion is to go that one of the best ways to develop resilience, if you want to develop resilience, if you are having trouble just showing up and just keeping going, one of the best ways to develop resilience is to simply know that you need to be resilient. If you view resilience as one of the greatest character qualities that you have, you are already further down the road towards developing resilience than most people are. If you show up with the expectation that your job, your work, your family, your marriage, your schooling, whatever it is, if you show up with the expectation that it is going to be easy, resilience is going to be harder to develop. If you show up with the expectation that it is going to be difficult, but I am able to overcome the problems, and these problems are actually opportunities that distinguish me as a leader and enable me to make an impact, then you will be further ahead in developing resilience. So that's our intro. VJ, what you got for us?
Oh man, that's fantastic. I've got a ton of stuff I've already written down, and I hope the people that are listening are also taking notes as well. Because
unless if you're driving, don't take notes.
Yeah, don't drive with notes and pencils and pens. But hey, listen, the reason you have a job is because there are problems to solve. That was incredible. I mean, it's kind of plainly stated, but it's something that we don't realize.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's leadership kind of bundled up. The reason your job exists is because of these problems. And
I think one of the funny things is, and I especially see this, people take on new jobs, they switch jobs because they think the job's going to be easier, and then they're surprised at the problems.
Yep.
There you go. They wouldn't have a job for you if there weren't problems to solve.
That's exactly right.
And if we can switch that mentality of, instead of choosing the easiest path for myself, I'm going to choose the path that will give me the greatest impact that I can possibly make and how to develop personally. And I know that decision sounds simple when it's stated like that, and it's incredibly hard. We said, hey, don't choose the path of least resistance, and you will become stronger throughout that process.
I love that. That's really good. And I love that you said that one of the first keys to being resilient is to know that you need to be resilient. Like, it's like knowing that you need to overcome something is first discovering that you have that issue you need to overcome. Yep. That's
Absolutely.
Really good. And then you said, keep doing what matters. Don't do the things that don't matter. Do the things that do. A couple questions here that we want to ask, though, that someone may be out there asking. It says, let's explore the statement, enthusiasm is common, endurance is rare. I think everyone agrees that endurance is rare, as we see people start all kinds of things like diets and groups and churches for that matter. They sometimes lack the resilience needed to stick with it. But can you talk more about enthusiasm being common?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what we know, and this is what every single one of us knows. New brings excitement. New always brings excitement. This is why as you go up and down the grocery store, every single product is either new, or it's improved, or it's new and improved. Like, just because we know that new brings excitement. It is not difficult to gain energy from launching something new.
Yeah.
But quickly, that newness is going to wear off. So we're going through this right now. With our team and with our church. We started this thing that was meant to develop our volunteers at a greater level that we've called Team Night. As soon as we launched it, it had a very large attendance to it, better than we expected for just starting it out. And that large attendance was there because it was new and it was exciting. And it was exciting to all of our team that was running it. And so we were pretty pumped up about it because it was brand new. But that newness is going to wear off. And so we're in a thing, there's a book by Seth Godin titled The Dip. And the dip is that difficult period when it's no longer new, it's no longer getting those initial results just from it being novel in that sense. And it's that difficult period in which you're no longer in beginner's luck, and you have to figure out how to master the work that you're doing in order to just achieve the same level of results that you used to. And so that is what is incredibly difficult within there. So just expect there to be initial enthusiasm, that ability to decide in advance, I know this is going to get harder than it initially is, but I will choose to keep going. One of the things I love is I love when people decide in advance the conditions under which they're going to quit. I think that's one of the most brilliant things people do. Like, hey, in my job, whatever that, hopefully not in your marriage, okay? But like in my job, in any other circumstances, I'm going to decide on the front end when I'm going to quit. That way I'm sure in the moment that my emotions don't take over within this process and I don't quit because of superficial reasons.
That's great. I love that. You mentioned the word expectation in here a few times, which seems to play a large role in being resilient. Talk about the mindset behind expectation that makes great leaders great.
Absolutely. And so part of that way, we talked about it right at the very end of just saying, hey, resilience comes from the expectation that I need to develop resilience because it's going to be hard. But I think in practical life, it looks a little different. It's the expectation that it's hard, but it's also and I know this could get into, based upon personality type, this could be taken the wrong way in a hurry. So please hear me out all the way on this. It's not paranoid, because I don't think that's where success lies. But it is constantly going through a contingency plan on all the different problems that could come up. And I know some people will do that, and it's their way of just being pessimists all around of it. Well, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And it doesn't come from a passive thought of all these things could be wrong. It comes from an active participation that is ready to rise up and meet those challenges because it's already thought through. So here's an example, and this is, I've changed, I speak Sunday mornings, I preach on a regular basis, and I have changed how I've prepared in it, like complete 180 from how I used to. I used to have every single thing scripted out. I knew every joke I was going to tell, every point that I was going to make. And at this point in time now, my desire is to be far more responsive to where the congregation is, to where the audience is, so that I can lead them. So I don't just have this pre-planned outline of what I'm going to go through, but that it's live. And so what that requires me to do, it requires me to, one, really, really know my content. But the second thing, to constantly be thinking through, if they're here, then I do this. If they're here, then I go through this. If we're at this point in time, then I need to lead into this question or this idea. And it's honestly, it's a more exhausting, like it takes far more mental energy to think that way, but it puts you in the spot that you're never on your heels because of the problems that come up, because you're constantly thinking through, if this happens, I will respond this way. If this happens, I will respond this way, and then we'll move forward.
I love that. I think that's something that I need to probably look into as well, as being, it's almost develop more of an awareness. Like you have to develop, it's not just something that you like walk into a room and you're automatically aware of everything. You need to become more aware and react according to that. I love that.
I can go back to the Mike Tyson had the great statement of boxing. He says,
punch you in the face.
Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
That's exactly right.
And so the piece that you acknowledge within your statement is to go, hey, your job is not just to have a contingency plan and then run on your plans. Yeah. Your job is to constantly be thinking through, what are the challenges that are going to rise up? And I will be mentally prepared to respond to them because I know in advance I can overcome them.
Oh, man, I am loving Leading Hope podcast. This is going to be really fun. I really enjoy this. All right, I think I got at least one more question here. Let's go ahead and reveal that. I love the realization that leadership is hard and setbacks are an absolute. In the midst of a setback, what are some of the practices a leader can engage in that will give them the energy they need to keep going?
Oh, absolutely. So this is one of the statements that I kind of live and die off of recently is that everybody thinks leadership is about vision, but leadership is as much about rhythm as it is about vision. It's not just about crafting a vision. It's about developing the rhythms within there that help support that vision. And so the rhythms that you have, that's your schedule, that's your meetings, that's your process, that's the way in which you do your tasks. It is all the things that become a part of your routine, a part of your daily life, a part of the things that you consistently do. Your rhythms develop your habits shape your behaviors. And so the key within there is to acknowledge that that sometimes we need to switch up our rhythms because our rhythms create that energy. So for me, a recent practice that I started up on is I just, within the flow of life, I believe learning gives me my edge. Like I do. When I am actively learning, I am far more aggressive in a healthy way. Some people may say an unhealthy way, but hey, that's another podcast that they can do. That's not our podcast. We don't need to cover that now. But I am far more aggressive, ready to rise up and meet the challenges, which is one of the things we want to do here, honestly, with this podcast.
Absolutely.
Is we just want to create a resource that will keep people's edge, keep them learning, so that we believe that you already have all the gifting and ability you need to rise up and meet the challenges, to make an impact in the world that you have been called to make. And we just want to posture you more than anything else in order to do that. And so a lot of that comes from our rhythm.
Yeah.
And so one of the changes I had to make just personally is my development was getting just kind of sucked out of my life, is started waking up early. And I spend the first 90 minutes of my day reading. First 30 minutes are scripture. Next hour is leadership material, leadership books, or spiritual related issues. And so that's done a world of difference for me, is to go, hey, I need that edge. That won't necessarily be the next season of my life, is to do the same thing, but that's what it is right now. And so one of the things people may do is just to go, hey, if I'm going to have that edge to rise up and meet those challenges, then what do I need to be doing on a daily or weekly basis to get myself in the right mindset that I know I can have the resilience I need?
Yeah, that's fantastic. I wrote down, for those that may be taking notes, leadership rhythm is just as important as the vision. And it's not, you need both. But I was thinking in context of churches out there that with their volunteers, and what we call it our Hope Team here.
Yep.
We've put this vision out in front of them, and we told them what Be Hope, why we exist, why this church exists. But then I think the rhythm that you're talking about is what their next step is to accomplishing that vision. It's like, hey, I need to show up monthly to this team night because that is part of the rhythm that is building this vision that has been set before me.
Yep.
And I need to be in a small group because I know that's the next right step for me to become what God has intended me to become. But whatever it is for someone out there, I think that rhythm that they create is going to help them be a better leader, first of all, but also reach the vision.
Yeah, if you don't like your outcomes, change your process. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's really good. I love it. So we've got just about 60 seconds here. I think you hit about everything that we wanted to hit for this first episode. Look, if you like this, we hope that you can subscribe and get this to any of the devices that are available to you, any podcasts that of your choosing. We hope that you come back next week when we'll be talking about the enemies of resilience. You do not want to miss that. Kevin, anything you want to say before we head out?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. Share with a friend, please. Our hope within here is to equip you in any way that we can to be better as a leader, because we believe this. We believe that your leadership will have an impact. Whoever you are, everyone has influence, and we believe that your leadership will have an impact. Your leadership can either lead people towards despair or it can lead people towards hope. And so we want you to lead people towards hope.
That's awesome. So we'll see you back next week for the enemies of resilience. And remember, everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count. See you guys.